All right, all right. We are back live pre-Christmas and not really a happy hour show. We're going to do that this Friday, 5 p.m. But wanted to bring on some of our favorite guests because there's a lot going on in crypto and especially the Richard Hart ecosystem. Welcome to the channel. I'm Cabana Crypto. Right over there, that's Dylan. Say hello, Dylan.
What's up, gentlemen and ladies?
Ladies, the one or two that might, venture in here. I'm sorry, and you're welcome. And Buck Nokia, excellent handle down there, sir. How you doing?
I'm well. Good to hear from you guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And not what we got Big K in the house. What's going on?
What's going on, sir?
Didn't expect
Good
to see you
morning,
here.
sir.
Yeah. Our snow tubing plans got pushed back a little bit for the day, so I had some time to come on out and see it
Outstanding.
sometime.
Well, good to see you, man. Yeah, just wanted to get the band together, as they say. Maybe just like a quick little chat here, but like I was saying, there's been a lot going on in crypto RH ecosystem specifically. And I think last we left off was right before the election. And
Has it been that long?
yeah, we were hopefully optimistic, and you know what? Things turned out pretty darn good for the entire financial and crypto world. And I'm sure to most of our pleasures and most of the chat's pleasure. So while the room fills up and we, get to the juicy stuff, I guess, thoughts on kind of like post-election, like Elon kind of lives at Mar-a-Lago now, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing for tech innovation, maybe even crypto. Of course, that's more like the Saxes and other people's wheelhouses, other appointments that have been made. But I guess, Buck, for a post-election take, I mean, I know there's plenty to say, but and I know, I've listened or, read what you have to say. You seem quite bullish. Is that bullishness, is it still going? And how far do you think this can go? Is it like a sell the inauguration kind of thing, or is that just like a temporary dip and then we look really good for 2025? What's your take after the dust is settled from all this election stuff?
Yeah, well, there's sort of two components to this. One is the global macro picture, which I'm sort of less sanguine about than I've been the past 2 years, but I'm still pretty optimistic, all things considered. Even though valuations are already very high and everything, I think they're likely to go much higher again in 2025. And I think the cycle probably is going to continue into 2026 now, most likely, because what I'm seeing is like a bit of a miracle from the perspective of you're going to have just massive amounts of investment going into the United States as a result of all these changes that are happening after the election. So that I think the macro picture, is not like, oh, everything's cheap right now, it's time to buy. That was 2 years ago, right? But I think this can definitely continue for quite some time. We'll have definitely some volatility along the way. There's a lot of uncertainty. I mean, the kind of key thing that happened with the election that I think surprised me was just how influential the crypto lobby has become in the Trump administration. I expected, Trump to say some nice things and, maybe leave us alone for 4 years. Get rid of Gary Gensler, like that. That was all I was kind of hoping for. But it's very clear, since we've seen his cabinet picks, that effectively what you've got is sort of like a plot twist to the book Atlas Shrugged, where all the industrialists, all the smart, capable people in the world, basically get so sick of socialism that they just start to refuse to work and they, disappear into their own little, Gulch place to hang out with each other and just let socialism collapse the economy. Elon and all these guys, David Sachs and Andreessen, they've decided not to do that. They decided actually just to take over the government. And I personally couldn't be happier about this. I know some people are worried about that, but I personally think this is absolutely wonderful. Having clever, smart people with vision running your government is, the recipe for massive success, right? You see this in places like Singapore. It's a good thing. What they're doing is basically a complete reversal of effectively, 20 years of socialism that we've basically been running in a kind of a bipartisan way. Actually, we have socialism for military spending, and we have socialism for entitlements and things like that. So what Elon's promising is basically that he's going to go and cut the fat and get rid of regulation. Meanwhile, they've brought in these guys that really understand technology. They understand that AI needs to be decentralized, and they're really committed to that. And the common thread between all these guys is that they have at least some crypto position, right? PA, almost all of them. So it's just a remarkable turn of events. And Trump seems to be, very okay with it, right? His kids are involved in their own ICO with World Liberty DeFi. But I think they all, Trump knows that these guys are A, competent, so he respects them, but B, they're super wealthy, so he definitely respects that, and C, they got him elected. And Trump performed very well, I suspect, with a lot of people that had crypto bags, and that's a lot of men under the age of 40, definitely under the age of 50, right? It's a common thing. So it's actually got me pretty fizzed up, all things considered. I would normally be kind of looking for the exit, right about now, right? Because and everything's smashing to all-time highs. But I actually do want to see what these guys can pull off after the inauguration. I'm always very cynical about people's ability to actually affect change in government because it's hard. But I've never seen a team like this of like very capable people that know how to wield public influence, that can really get the United States kind of in walking in kind of lockstep on things. When you look at the ability of Elon to just go and basically gut that omnibus bill, just by using his megaphone, and get a slightly less bad bill, at the last minute.
Impressive.
Like that's, to me, that's super impressive. Now I know CNN's going to say that this is Elon's the new Hitler, but I absolutely love it. So I'm actually thinking, well, I've never really thought Trump was a very good manager of anything. In this case, he's delegating now, finally, it would appear, to people who are definitely very good managers. So we'll see how long, that dream team, can, kind of stick together. But I think it's going to be a very different administration. And, I'm fascinated by what they're going to potentially go for. It's going to be much bigger, I think, than anything I would have anticipated before the election. They could do really interesting things. But what I think will happen is they're going to want to suck all of the crypto energy back into the United States. And that's something that we've never seen before in the entire history of crypto. We've all been basically operating outside of the US system, by and large, because it's been unfriendly and scary, basically, since the CIA wanted to speak to Satoshi in 2012, right?
Yeah.
That's it's just not been it's not been a good environment for us, and now suddenly Brian Armstrong, David Sachs, all these guys have effectively taken over the U.S. government, and what a wonderful outcome. I can't express it enough.
Yeah, and when you say like the future, paraphrasing kind of, but like the future doesn't, hasn't looked brighter for crypto. What does that look like? Like why do you think that? Because of things like tokenization will kind of like get, kind of on the fast track, and is it an adoption sort of thing? I know all the right pieces are in place and appointments are in place, but could you expand on that just a touch?
Yeah, so I'll try and be a little bit concrete. So like I think the Overton window is going to basically now shift, and it's going to go from crypto as this sort of where terrorists go to launder their money narrative that they've been saying to no, actually this is very useful, interesting technology, and it's very important to keeping AI decentralized. And what's coming in AI is going to be, obviously the most important thing that we've seen in our lifetime. I think it's going to be more important than the internet was, right? And it's also going to mean basically that investment can actually come back to crypto. You have to understand that. I know everybody here loves meme coins, but the actual serious money in crypto basically dried up as a result of all the stuff that happened with SBF, right, and Operation Choke Point 2.0. So now you're going to actually see like big dog investors putting billions of dollars to work building the next generation of crypto. And yeah, that can be so like we may actually see real innovation again. We'll see real investment, billions of dollars put to work building the next generation of protocols and other things. You may see crypto better integrated into the financial system. So like maybe you'll actually be able to pay for your Big Mac with Bitcoin finally, right? Because they'll give these businesses effectively cover to do it, right? Like the technology is already there, right? It was just a matter of do these guys, these companies, they don't want to get in trouble, and they don't want to get on the wrong side of Uncle Sam, right? So that I think that's all going to change, and I think that's super exciting. And yeah, of course, BlackRock and every other asset manager is going to launch products, and that's primarily going to I think happen on L2s on Ethereum, which is very, very good news for a Hex and Pulse chain as well, because that's gonna mean there's just a lot more capital going in. So if you were trying to talk to any serious investment people the last 4 years about crypto, like that, none of these people wanted to go anywhere fucking near it. They absolutely despised it. They have this ESG mandate, right? Which is stands for environmental sustainability and governance.
Buck was
It's
2 years
basically
ago. Buck was just complaining about these these meetings he'd have, and they just all
it's
be DEI shit. ESG.
ESG is basically DEI and as a wolf in sheep's clothes. But they come in and they basically tell you like what you're allowed to think and who you're allowed to hire, and what's okay. And crypto was enemy number one for a bunch of reasons. Primarily though because these guys hate liberty and they like control, and they're basically communists, cultural Marxists that want to basically exert authority. And they were winning for like the last 10 years, right? Every company in the United States and abroad was basically bending over backwards to show how woke they were by ESG. And like now this shit's basically going to be like illegal, like, which is hilarious. So I
mean,
like
just
gonna,
like
Give it a
Nissan
dog.
banned it, like
yeah.
and you see
Really,
they're
all
not
out.
the only company, but you see like these major corporations kind of like stepping away from it publicly, and it's it's good to see.
Yeah, everybody's
Look what
had
just
enough
happened
of
to
it, to be honest.
Look what just happened to Jaguar recently. I think they might have been the last company
That was like
went
the
that
last.
route.
That was the top of DEI there,
Yeah,
or whatever it was.
they fucked
Wokeness.
out.
That
Yeah,
ad.
they're
Oh
fucked.
my god.
They're European. They're European though, so that Europe hasn't really turned the
We're
page
slow to
yet,
move
right?
on this, yeah.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, they have a
matter of
big
fact,
market here.
they elected a socialist, one of these guys with Keir
Ah.
Starmer in the UK. So I think they're trying to cozy up
Jesus.
to the left. But no, I mean, you see it all
Yeah.
over the world. You see it all over the world. Like Germany is potentially going to go towards the right now, and France as well. So I suspect they're going to come. But the reality is that all of this money is going to flow in the United States, because in reality, you don't want to invest anywhere else in the world when you've got the fucking dream team of Elon Musk and Andreessen Horowitz, basically running America. Like you just be stupid. Like their politicians can't compete with that. They don't have anybody halfway talented in Europe, basically. And the people that do run those countries are idiots, right? We normally have idiots running our country, but now we're actually going to have super smart, capable people. So it's really exciting. So I'm pretty excited about it. And yeah, fuck Europe, seriously, and fuck Finland especially.
Laughs in American.
I think we as a community should probably start a movement, and go to Mar-a-Lago and basically ask Trump to kick Finland out of NATO. That's my.
That's a good. I like that.
I think we need to make Finland Russia again. I think Russia.
Back to the Crimea.
You know what, Putin? The way we're gonna end the war, you gotta leave Ukraine alone, but you can have Finland.
It's a great
We'll give
deal.
you Finland.
It's a great deal.
They're a great deal. They were mean to Richard Hart. We don't like that.
They kick the Finland ambassador out of America. I mean, Nuclear Herbs has applied to become our next ambassador to Finland. How great would that be?
He can negotiate the turnover to Putin.
There you go.
Whatever you want, sir. Right ahead. Jesus.
Big K, man, how you doing? What are your post-election takes from afar? I know you've distanced yourself somewhat, but reaction and perhaps amongst those you rub elbows with.
So yeah, I was gonna. On a kind of a side to it, but not fully. We just had our Puerto Rican blockchain week about a week and a half ago or so down here, and I'm not down there right now, but down that way. And it was awesome. We actually sponsored like a bunch of Hexicans, Pulsicans, whatever. Our crew came together and sponsored some of the events. Had some branding out. Me and Coffee got on stage and talked. Did a demo on the demo day for a digital sovereignty like demo kind of day, and we got some speaking time there. And then I threw a cool party, and the party that we did a pig roast
throw
on the
a cool
beach.
party? What?
Yeah, I do that from time.
Yeah.
I do that.
I may have attended one or two in my day.
Yes, you have. So it was a fun ass time. I mean, we did Puerto Rican style stuff. We had the Chichareo buses to pick everybody up and take it from the conference
Of course.
to the beach, and had a pig roast on the beach, and had some DJs that we've had also Hexicans come and play, and it was awesome. It was a great time. But that's not sure, I can throw a cool party, fine. But what was pretty poignant about this is, first of all, several of the people that helped me throw the party, Hexicans, that are, Pulsicans, that were into the idea, paid for, made sure to pay for everything. So I didn't have to come out of pocket really for anything. And they're big money people on the island. These are, and the amount of cash that actually showed up to this party of not just, traditional finance people that are freshly getting into Pulse that have, put in big sums of money recently, but also Bitcoiners. We had a bunch of Bitcoiners. I had 3 different people come up to me and tell me that OG Bitcoin crew people be like, I never would have interacted with y'all's crew, and fuck Hexicans basically, but this is a super fun time. Y'all are kick ass. I'm glad I came out in person and saw it. So the amount of, between the promoters being totally cool with taking our money and being part of the sponsorship, everybody it felt way more positive than it has in the past, putting on events around other crypto events. That was a serious change that I felt, because even there's been Pulse people and Hex people on the island for a while, but like, you know, they're also regular crypto people. So like when you're like, hey, you know, you got some pulse and shit, they're like, you know.
Yeah. Please do
Yeah,
it.
sure, fine, yeah.
Respectfully.
but that I feel is changing, and I feel like they're, you know, they're obviously more willing to sponsor events. And you know, so one of the cats that sponsored stuff was is an ETH Genesis whale too. That's also a pulse, you know, not God, but you know, somebody separate from that. So like there's money involved that is coming in, and in pretty good clips, you know. So I was impressed. I looked around, I was like, there's fucking $1 billion plus with this at this beach pig roast here. And people like looking to make shit happen, you know. So it's really cool to see. I'm stoked with the progress that we've seen in such a short amount of time. So I'm hoping that more, you know, they're planning on doing another thing, you know, beginning of the next year, like March or something like that, and we're gonna probably make a good presence there for that too. So yeah, post-election stuff looks good. I like to see the fact that crypto is being talked about in such a positive light period, and all the appointments that we're getting are people who, as Buck said, have crypto, have family that have crypto, have been involved for a while, is really super bullish. So I mean, I stick by my survive until 25 motto, and I'm excited to see what happens this next year.
Basically, don't screw this up, because this is, you know, if
I mean,
you're out too early.
You're gonna get maximum FUD right before we go into it. You know, we're feeling the burn here. So you know, hold on.
Are you holding on, Sir Dylan?
Yes. I enjoy the volatility as always. You know, I can't help but, you know, trade from here from time to time. Okay. But yeah, that news event came out. I was wrapping presents, right? So I was in the middle of something, and I'm seeing the price. And I was like, oh fuck, this guy.
I hope you kept the tags, so that you can bring them back.
No,
because Christmas is canceled now.
Christmas is canceled in Hexaco.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a pretty good bounce. I'm glad I traded, but you know, I had my girlfriend watch the trade while I was wrapping her presents.
Now that is a happy family moment there.
That's adorable.
Wholesome Christmas. Well, before we get into all the way into it, Buck, I wanted to just get your take on, like you mentioned, you know, overall markets and crypto. What are your take? Are we going to have like an ETF, crypto ETF kind of like boom, or is it just going to be like one here, one there kind of thing? Like where do you see this going? Because the ETF, or excuse me, ETH ETF, Bitcoin ETF, obviously they made like huge headlines last year. You can actually, you know, anybody can look up and see the inflows and outflows, and more often than not, they're quite bullish. I think even ETH was even more bullish than Bitcoin maybe a couple of weeks back. But what do you see on the ETF front here in the States?
Yeah, well, it depends on if they need futures or not first. So we need to see what the policy is on that, because if they do, if they want to basically test them out to make sure there isn't too much manipulation, then you know you're looking at least a year lag for the additional ones. Otherwise, if they decide they don't care about that, then I believe you'll see an XRP one first. Would be my guess, because it's got a long track record, and those guys are very, very good at marketing to Wall Street, and you know they've been very active with the Trump administration, even though they were hedging their bets, having one of their guys go for Kamala. So I actually think Ripple's the first one to get, and then maybe even Litecoin. I think Solana comes a bit later.
Any Doge?
Yeah, actually, yeah, you'll get Doge eventually, yeah. But I don't think that's actually, you know, necessarily going to happen. I think more interestingly, is you'll see staked Ethereum ETFs, which I think that's actually a much cooler product. It's a much more interesting product. So I'd be keen to see that more than anything. Obviously, I say that as a person that owns Ethereum, and you know, Pulse is a fork of Ethereum, but I think it's actually quite a useful product to be able to buy staked Ethereum as opposed to just buying spot. You know, that's a very low effort thing, right? You can buy spot on Coinbase, Like, why do you need to go pay BlackRock, a fee when they're just custodying it with Coinbase anyway? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously some people, prefer to use, their brokerage or, their institutional relationships with BlackRock, and that makes sense and all. But, I think having a staked Ethereum ETF will be quite cool. And yeah, I think that's kind of something you'll see within, I think, 6 months or so, right? I'm wondering if we get in-kind transactions as well. That would also be cool. That was something that they didn't want in the prior administration, but I think that's a very cool product. So that means basically, rather than selling to dollars to enter the ETF, you can literally just send them Bitcoin or send them Ethereum.
Wow.
Or if you want to withdraw, you can just withdraw Ethereum or Bitcoin.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. That's pretty fucking cool. Interesting.
So that would be something I'd be very keen to see. And I think that'd be insanely good news. Because imagine the kind of activity you get from that. You'd see some pretty big movers come in, if that were the case. And that's part of the whole kind of tokenization thing, right? When you can do that, right, you can basically then put, the BlackRock ETF on the blockchain, essentially, right? You can just go buy the token on the blockchain, and then effectively you're in the fund. So that there doesn't have to be this stupid thing where they have to convert it to cash first, right? Yeah. So I'm looking for those two things more so than do we get a Solana ETF. I don't really care so much about that.
Right on. What about so we're talking like other cryptos as we make our way, I guess, to the RH discussion, but obviously, I guess since we last spoke, we had the election. I believe even you mentioned and I think I seconded it or whatever. I think we were unanimous in the fact that if Trump won, we would probably see all-time highs like that night, and which we did. And then we went on to break 100K. I think we got up to like 108 or something like that. Now we're like, I don't know, 15K below that. We're like 93 right now. So just in terms of like Bitcoin, ETH, like the majors, that's how I refer to them, price action. You kind of just see like a chop here, for the next few weeks, months, because it seems like we kind of blew it out. We got that 100K push, and then everybody's like, oh my gosh, to the moon. And then 108, and that was pretty much it. We've come down pretty, healthily since then. We hit like 100, bounced off of it. Then it was like 95 was kind of like a magnet, which is still kind of holding, but we're in these low 90s. So, what do you see going for? I know, every $1,000 tick, is irrelevant to you. But I'm just asking your, I guess, overall trend vision for the next 6-12 months.
Yeah. Okay. So nothing really changed since then. The thing that set off the profit taking was Powell basically cautioning people and kind of indicating that he was a little bit more hawkish, meaning worried about inflation. But then since then, all the economic data we've had has actually been pretty weak. So that implies actually that he has to be, while he's mindful of inflation, he also has to be worried about unemployment going up too much. So you've seen weakness in the employment markets. Consumer confidence just came through a few minutes ago, weaker than expected. So I think there's really no big economic releases coming until late January anyway. So really nothing's going to come to change where we are, which is that the bond market more or less thinks that it has things right, and that we're in sort of a Goldilocks period for the moment, where Powell's done a pretty good job of balancing the risk of inflation with slowing down the economy. The thing though is that I believe the Trump administration and what the guys that are going to be coming in on the Treasury side, so the fiscal side, these guys desperately understand that they need to win the midterms. So they're gonna do everything they can to fucking pump the economy, in my opinion. Like that's what I think. That's what I would do if I were them, right? Because they 2 years isn't really long enough to get done the ambitious shit that they want to do, right? So they're all sitting there and these guys, all of them are market animals. Scott Bessent, shout out to Scott, is he's like the gay George Soros, right? He's like just brilliant, right? Worked for Soros for ages, but politically, aligns on our side. So he's worked with the best, and he's one of the best. So and he's going to be running Treasury. So I think they're going to run the economy super hot. The thing that we didn't know, but we predicted, all of us correctly, shout out to us, was that the Republicans would sweep. I think we all agreed on that, and most people didn't expect that. That was like only 30% odds. But yeah, we were actually entirely right about the way the election night would pan out. That's really good news because it means that they're going to have runway to pass a lot of legislation and do most of what they want to do. But yeah, they're mindful that they've got midterms to win. Last time Trump lost midterms bigly, and that was a huge problem. It was basically the end of his presidency in essence. So they're going to do everything they can. So I'm looking at this going, well, the economy's doing pretty good, all things considered. We have people coming in and doing the right moves. They're going to follow the Javier Milei playbook, which is working wonderfully for Argentina. And I'll remind you that Argentina is literally a pulse chain copy paste of the U.S. Constitution. That when they made the Constitution of Argentina, they literally copy pasted the U.S. And so like we already see it working well. They're going to do the exact same fucking thing there, and you just see like what's happened with Argentina in just a year. It's a miracle. They've got inflation in control, and poverty is dropping like a stone. This shit works, right? When you head towards capitalism, good things happen, right? So I anticipate that this is going to be an environment where everybody's going to want to invest. U.S. dollar is going to probably stay annoyingly strong because of that, because everybody's going to be trying to sell every piece of shit investment they have in Asia and Europe to get a piece of what's coming. The U.S. is going to win AI. 2 years ago, we were all thinking, China was so far ahead of us and all this shit. Not anymore, right? Now we've got Elon and all these guys basically running the U.S. government. You better fucking believe we're going to absolutely smoke the rest of the world, right? So super bullish. I think everybody big in crypto is going to move to the United States in the next year. That's my bet. Go buy some fucking Miami property now before the rest of the crypto bros show up, because they're going to be selling their fucking pads in Portugal or Dorado or whatever to go be in the center of the universe, which I think is probably going to be Miami.
Is this something you're practicing and preaching?
I'm absolutely. I'm coming to the U.S. In a couple of days, as a matter of fact. So
nice.
I'm absolutely considering it. I've been gone a very long time, but like I think if these guys could pull off like a third of the stuff that I think they're going to try to do, it's going to be an amazingly dynamic period for America. And the kind of key thing that I didn't really fully get was just how synchronized they are on this kind of belief that we need to win AI, but we also need AI not to be this evil cartel of Google and Microsoft, right? And this is like, I think a bigger reason why Musk did what he did, right, was literally just to fucking rain on Sam Altman's parade, right? And they're basically going to make sure that crypto is the thing that keeps AI decentralized, right? And that's extremely powerful and it's extremely exciting. So just imagine all that money coming into AI, and that all that money that's been going into AI. You guys can't make money off of it, really, right? Because all you can do is basically buy, Microsoft shares, right? It's already a fucking multi-trillion-dollar company.
Nvidia and
Yeah,
Marvell and Broadcom, and that's the hardware pretty much now, right?
Yeah, but you're not going to get fucking rich off of
No.
Off of Nvidia if you buy it now. Matter of fact, arguably their moat isn't that good. If you made that trade on Nvidia, congratulations, that was an awesome trade. But it's already a very expensive company. Whereas where you can make money actually is in AI that's connected to crypto, right? And so I feel like this is a marriage made in heaven. Like I just couldn't be any more excited about it. I'll be watching these guys like a hawk, just grading their efficacy in terms of getting things done. Like if it starts to look like the prior Trump administration, and like there's a lot of infighting and they can't seem to agree on anything, and you just start seeing all these leaks and stuff. But man, it seems like he's got together a whole bunch of people that really want to shake things up, and they agree on core principles, even if they're come from different parts of the political spectrum, whether it's left or right. So I think they're on a very clear mission. They want to get America out of all this bullshit World War III stuff going on, and just focus on winning AI and winning the future, which is the real war, actually, right? So I think it's unbelievable how serendipitous this election has been, and I still don't think people have put all these dots together. I'm starting to see a few people talk about it, but like I'm amazed how little they do. All they talk about is like how evil Elon is because he's got too much influence, and it's like, yeah, but like I'm sorry, like Elon's the fucking LeBron James of business, right?
Who would you rather have?
No. Actually, no. Sorry, he's the Steph Curry of business. He's even better than LeBron James. Fuck LeBron.
Yes, thank you.
Like, so why on earth would you fucking put Steph Curry on the bench? Let that guy fucking come and be the court general. A smart coach is gonna Donald Trump's the coach. He's gonna put Steph Curry in the game. Let him do his thing. And I don't know shit about basketball, so I hope my metaphor makes sense. But I know from the devs that Steph Curry is a very good basketball player. That's about all I know. But yeah, Elon is amazing, and what's amazing is how like there's this almost unified vision amongst these guys now. Everybody's showing up at Mar-a-Lago because these guys are smart. It's not just about power. They understand that this vision makes sense. So you see guys like Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, even
Bezos.
going, and Bezos. Great example. Bezos is a genius. He's a hedge fund guy, Princeton grad. Originally he comes from this world, and he sees this stuff, and he's like, he must be super excited, right? And his entire like business model is, he must spend so much fucking time and energy dealing with bullshit related to U.S. tax, U.S. government bullshit, right? Like it must literally be, a huge suck of weight of energy out of his business. So like he must be just absolutely fucking thrilled. So this is a very exciting time for people that want to start businesses, want to get, want to go out and actually make something out of their lives. It's a really shitty time if you've gotten through your whole career by being part of certain protected groups of people, or you got where you got by working your way through a bureaucracy and greasing palms and towing the company line, right? This is going to be real merit, right? Real proper merit-based government. And I don't think we've had that in America probably since Thomas Jefferson, right? It's pretty exciting. So I have high hopes about all this, as you can tell, but I don't know. We'll see how effective they are.
Yeah.
That's the caveat. Let's wait and see. But it could actually be way better than we expect.
Yeah.
Like this whole outcome has already been way better than I expected. And well, cool.
I don't like, you know, being overly optimistic. If anything, I always say I try to keep it real or slightly pessimistic. And then if something cool happens, I'm pleasantly surprised. And the good thing, kind of along to your point, is to where the first Trump administration, there was like internal chaos and infighting, and you know, I don't think he expected to win, and so he got in there, and he's just, you know, taking whatever help he can get, and not knowing who's going to stab him in the back, not knowing who's tied to who, and it was a mess on some levels. Now coming back in, I mean, he's had months to prepare already, and he knows how the system works now. He knows who he needs to, you know, work friendly with, you know, frenemy like. He knows who's totally on his side. He knows his exact enemies pretty much. And I think that, you know, the prospects this time around, kind of along to your point, look actually way better. And this is coming from like a realist slash, you know, someone who thinks on the pessimistic side a little bit, just because I like to be surprised. And I'm actually more optimistic of this administration than I was last administration. So,
well, last time around it seemed like a lot of culture war bullshit going on, whereas like it seems like this is way more business focused. You know, everything was nitpicking about who the fuck he was picking for this or that, and why they're, you know, in some sort of cultural.
Why didn't they have green hair?
And all that kind of shit. So like, I mean, it seems like there's definitely at least a concerted vision between everyone to get something done. I can, as somebody who thinks the government sucks on both sides most of the time, I like to see that, because most of the time it looks like everyone's just waiting out the clock, you know, and that doesn't seem like what we're doing here. So that's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Dope.
I mean,
also the decentralized AI stuff is really cool too. Buck was talking about. I'm a huge fan of all that. There's a big talk about it a bunch at Blockchain Week in Puerto Rico about some of the options that are available, you know, soon for end users to use. And I'm not going to name any names or anything right now, but it does seem like there's some really cool options out there that are coming out.
Nice.
All right.
You know, I use Venice.ai, right? Because, you know, my filthy mind, most of the things I want to ask, like ChatGPT gives me some sort of like school mom, like, you know, well, like, you know, we don't think that's like an appropriate question to ask, you know, type of thing. But I mean, that's just the way my mind works. It's like, you know, like I want to know what it looks like, you know, like if like Taylor Swift gets in a, you know, like a freeway with you know, Richard Hart, and, you know, can you make that into a graphic image for me, you know, with Michelle Obama? Like Venice.ai will do that, and you know, the other ones won't. And it's like this was created by Voorhees, right? I think he's a Bitcoin OG, right? You know, so it's his pet project. You know, so it's just like little stuff like that. You know, the power of this thing to actually bring real innovation now is going to come back. We haven't seen any good innovation in crypto really this cycle, right? You know, we had real step changes with DeFi Summer in 2019, right? But like, where was the innovation this time around? There really hasn't been any.
There hasn't been. If we get some sort of decentralized AI crypto based thing that, you know, off the ground properly, then that would be it. That would be the real next layer of innovation. I mean, I can't. And up until then, it's been, you know, liquid staking derivative stuff or whatever, which is like fine. But we have that in traditional finance. It's not actually innovative. I think the AI merriment would be really huge if we get that right.
AI. Yeah, we've covered pretty much news, election.
I think there's one more topic that we haven't really
markets.
covered yet.
I believe there's a topic that, you know, we're about to get to, and I think that's why most of everyone is here. So you know, I'll just start with you, Big K, because you know you're Mr.
I got a call from a friend. I was at a holiday party, and they're like, "Oh my God, did you see?"
So someone told you
got?"
weren't even aware.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No
yeah, no.
shit.
And I mean, without thinking about it too much, I was like, well, I know how it feels right now, so that sounds like a really good time to hit the buy. I'm really upset that I'm not sitting next to my keys right now
Right.
at this holiday party, because I'd be hitting the buy button pretty hard.
Yeah.
So
And the bridge was backed up, I guess, you know, with
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I think
you
for
saw
about
it.
8 hours.
Yeah.
It was not
So
good.
a lot of the stuff from the bots that were showing
yeah. So
some
the
money
news that
trying to get in that could not get in, so
yeah. So the news, you know, for perhaps those who are unaware, you know, the two of you in the audience, we're just talking about, I guess I could say the recycled FUD, because the tax stuff with Finland, you know, Finland wanting, yeah, I guess their cut of taxes from sacrifice funds from the Pulse Chain sacrifice and or Pulse X sacrifices years ago, which was actually published. I know there's one iteration of it that was like back in September, and I almost want to
there's
say
another in like
it was
June
older
too.
than that, like a
Yeah.
year old.
I
So
want to say the first whisperings of this at all was like back in January this year.
okay, yeah, so close to a year old, and
Mhm.
I remember seeing it, and I think we had like a little temporary like dippy. I mean, it was like quick,
Yeah.
and then we just it was kind of ignored, and I was like, okay, and then we went up from there. I guess the added touch to this is this very curious assault charge on a nameless, genderless being, and you know, via RH, and it's just like, okay, so it took this long to attach this to this tax thing, and this is why the price went down like what 60%, you know, pretty much in the blink of an eye. And it was interesting to watch. I mean, I don't really need to, you know, I wasn't, you know, sitting there with a stack of die and be like, oh man, waiting for this hex dip, waiting for this hex dip. But I'm very comfortable with my position. I get short-term stakes, long-term stakes, you know, so you know, I'm getting, you know, coins either way. But I was like, man, if I had $1 million to throw at this right now, and it was under a penny and a half, and then coming down to a penny, and then I think we got below a penny, and now we've
Yeah.
doubled back since then, so we're like closer to 2 pennies now. I think, yeah, it felt a lot like the SEC day last year, last August, or July 31st, August 1st, and we had that massive dip, except we never really recovered from that. Like it's been a slog like for over a year. This one, I mean, we're not back to where we were, but the bounce has been quite strong. This community's been very conditioned for situations like these, and I think that's a testament to this community as to how the price rebounded. And of course, you actually have RH being somewhat active in his own X account that very night, and since, you know, posting some, you know,
pretty bullish stuff.
pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm like all bowled up, but it's certainly not bearish, and he's not backing away, and it's like there's nothing wrong here. This is, you know, kind of ridiculous if you're reading between the lines. Plus, I would say, you know, some of the bullish stuff, you know, outlining what FUD is, and you know, what it means to sell bottoms and things like that, while certain things
Explaining what
get
opportunity
cut,
it looks like.
yeah, in more than half. So I don't know. I guess Big K and or, you know, whoever wants to take it. Like, what are y'all's takes on this? You know, are we just gonna bounce right back from this faster than pretty much, you know, most other things, just because we've seen just about everything there is to see? I guess the only thing we haven't seen is if like we wake up one morning and Richard Hart is in handcuffs or something. I guess that we get like another 50% dip. But where are y'all's takes? Where we're at right now?
I mean, yeah, great buying opportunity. I don't think anything, like, it's weird because I didn't feel like anything really changed. My biggest surprise in all of it that there was, I mean, we lost some sharks in the process.
Yes.
You know, that like
I mean,
folks that have been here for a while had decided to pull the ripcord on this particular FUD, which is, I mean, like more than one. I don't know if it was, I don't know. I mean, I want to say it was 3 or 4 sharks that like totally lost, which is,
there was a handful of guys that caused this dump. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of was some version of cascading effect. I mean, like,
I mean, 8-9 figure emergency end stakes, like crazy coming across.
I mean, like with like information that's already been here, that's very wild. That part is like crazy to me that people have been playing this game for this long, still are that inexperienced at it, I guess. But I mean, but other than that, I mean, I get that, like, why do we have such a dip? It's because there's not that. We have some big shark holders like that, and if when you sell out, there's not that many of them. There's less than, I think, 90 or so of those those wallets out there still, and you get 3 or 4 of them to sell like that, and that's a huge chunk off your whatever liquidity we have. So, like, I get why the dip happened, and I also get why it was bought up as quick as it was. I mean, that totally makes a lot of sense in that regard. Why people, I don't understand where their mentality is besides just they've had enough, whatever, I guess. But I think that it provides awesome opportunity. And I feel like every time I've been doing this for 5 years now in Hex to like see like when does some of the best opportunities come? When do the best rips come right after them? Like the best rips come after we, big payday, after we hit a penny New Year or 2 cents that New Year's and went back under a penny. I mean, I remember these feelings of 80% plus dips. And then the rip afterwards was super fire. So, like, I mean, I don't know. It's silly for people to get out like that. But hey, that's how the game works. So, I mean, I'm okay with it too. It makes me feel like everything's operating as it should. This is what I felt for a while. We've done this. I don't think there has been like a year in Hex's existence where we haven't had some sort of FUD and some sort of at least 40-50% dip. You show me a year period of time on the charts where that didn't happen. Yeah, I don't think it's been there. So, the volatility is the price we pay for, awesomely appreciating assets.
Yeah, and with that all said, I mean, Buck, I know you've been here and you've been unfazed by plenty of things, including the SEC news last year. I believe I talked to you and Alex of Hedron/Icosa fame. Shout out to him. Hopefully he's making progress on whatever he might be cooking. But yeah, you're still here. Dylan's still here. And, you seem, unfazed by this. I mean, yeah, it's annoying as anything that, these things keep happening, and it's I guess annoying's a bit of a kind word, but where are we now in your view? Because it's like, okay, we were expecting this SEC, I'm not even going to say dismissal, but possible positive news, maybe partial dismissal of some of the stuff in the coming days/weeks, and everybody's kind of like waiting on that event, and now we have another event that happens, and it's just like, oh my gosh, all right, what's the next thing? So what's your take on where the RH ecosystem is right now?
Right. So I think the kind of only new key takeaway I have with this recent event is that it makes me think we're not going to see Richard Hart streaming anytime soon. That was actually something I thought might change with the SEC dismissal. I thought it would be an awesome chance for him to come out and take a lap and be like, I'm back, bitch. I'm back, bitches, and I'm better than ever. With this thing, I think it means he's going to have to remain in incognito mode, which is good in a way because it means that he's going to have to use those levers that we know he knows how to use to make Hex great again. So I'm maybe a little bit disappointed that I don't think we're going to be seeing Richard Hart streaming or at the Bitcoin Miami
or sorry, Bitcoin Vegas conference this year. Because I literally could imagine a world where that would have happened. He's going to be probably unlikely to transit through major European airports, or probably wherever he is. He says he's safe and he's happy. That's great. He should stay there. And I think this thing. Finland's a small country, socialist country, where they put everybody's fucking taxes. They publish it, online, so you can see literally how much everybody makes, and which is absolutely fucking crazy because especially for crypto people, that's like super dangerous. So I think it's good that he's left that place, but they're seeing an opportunity to go after some overweight American guy who's didn't pay his taxes and fled the country. That's the way they're going to see it. But in reality, it's like whatever money they think they're owed isn't really real until it's actually realized somewhere, right? And we don't know who owns that stuff, and it's kind of out in the ether somewhere, literally on Ethereum. So good luck with that. It's a large amount of money to them. So obviously, some bureaucrat, somewhere is gonna, want to take this swing, but it's also an absolutely meaningless country that no one cares about. So I'm not too worried about it, and it's I think something that ultimately just shows you how resilient the community is, and what people can basically stomach. And I would say the only thing I'd really like to know is the gender of this person that was assaulted, because if Richard kicked the crap out of some 16-year-old Zoomer boy for mouthing off or trying to steal one of his Rolexes, like, personally, I'll think that's hilarious, and I think we'd all kind of get behind him. I mean, there's definitely times I'd like to go whoop Dylan's ass. So I can so if it's that kind of thing, I think we can definitely all agree that guy had it coming. If it's not that, then I think we'll all want an explanation. But I think it's just the fear that it might be the latter and not the former that I think kind of got people a little bit.
Yeah,
it just
seems odd that this was like attached to the tax thing, and then it's just like, oh well, we have this now, and it just reminds me of cases here in the States to where people bring up stuff way after the fact just because they want to get at somebody, no matter if the accusations are true or not.
It's a Brett Kavanaugh type thing, right?
Yes, exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Even if it were true, like it was a long time ago, and it's not really related to anything he did on the in his career as a judge or whatever. It's like this thing doesn't have any real connection. I mean, unless there is somehow some magical, like if he beat up a tax collector who happened to be 16-year-old, then I could kind of get it. But like, I don't think there's too many 16-year-old tax collectors. Yeah. But like, if like some illegal immigrant in Helsinki was trying to mug Richard, because he saw his really awesome drip, then well,
he's walking home from the Gucci store 5 minutes down.
Yeah, well, I can see that. I can see that happening. But I can also see like a place like Finland being like, how dare he defend himself? Those damn Americans.
Yes.
So So well, I don't know that there's a lot of unanswered questions about all this, and obviously they do these things in order to paint you in the absolute worst light possible, always. Right? They just like they did with the SEC case, right? They brought up all this stuff that we all in the community understand because it was well explained to us. Like, okay, I'm trying to outrage market. I'm trying to get people to notice me. You guys don't need to do this. I'm doing it because this is my way of getting bringing
bringing my profile up. But they twisted this into, oh, he did all this just so he can buy some Rolexes.
Right.
And it's like, like Rolexes aren't that expensive for someone who's been in Bitcoin since 2011. Like, I think, it's not that big of a deal, right? And in reality, it's like, there's plenty of crypto founders living in Dorado with $30 million houses that are actually a hell of a lot more impressive, but nobody thinks twice about that because that's not as garish or in your face, or I don't know. It's like it's more normal to own a house, I guess, right? But I think Brock Pierce's extravagances are probably a hell of a lot more impressive than Richard's. So I think that's a kind of a silly thing. But
I
go
was gonna say the cast of characters on this Interpol site that surround his image. If you just click around, there's murderers, rapists, all these crazy crimes that these people are wanted for, and then you're caponing this guy and be like, well, we get on taxes. It's like, what are we doing here? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think in a way, it's like you can almost do the shoot the moon strategy here. Ironically, as you do in the game of Hearts, where like you just absorb the maximum amount of notoriety. One thing that actually surprised me was like the number of people tweeting about this yesterday. Like I saw like the Zero Hedge account was tweeting about it. I had no idea Tyler Durden even knew who he was.
Right.
And plenty of other massive OGs in crypto were tweeting about it. And obviously everybody wants to say like, look how hypocritical these guys are, but like that they're cheering on the government this way, but which is true. But I think more importantly, it's like actually maybe this is going to actually add to the mystique of the man himself, potentially, if he somehow rides the wave the right way. Certainly makes him more compelling main character in my mind. So yeah, it could actually be a blessing in disguise, although it might not feel like it right now.
Yeah, I guess rarely does, especially in crypto. And plus, you have, I guess, prominent crypto influencers, KOLs, personalities, whatever you want to call them, like Erica and Simon Dixon Twat, and all the other guys who are coming out basically cheering this on, kind of like what you were saying. And then
I don't feel like Eric was cheering it on.
No, I meant Simon Dixon there. But
yeah, Simon was for sure. But I'll give Eric his credit. He's pretty neutral on everything.
He's got the troll element to his. So
yeah.
But there's a list of. I mean, just go through.
Oh, there was plenty, and yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I love it that people pull up the charts of those who are yelling at Richard about being a scammer. They pull up like their own coins and be like, oh, is this you? And Simon Dixon's coin, it's like 0, and other people's projects have just been totally beaten the all get out. And it's just like, wow, like, and I'm preaching to the choir, but it's just like, we should be on the same side of this. And of course, Max Kaiser is a freaking loon, and his unintelligent wife is just, I can't even, it hurts my brain to read the stuff that she posts. So it's just like, yeah, it's just sad. That's, I guess, just me venting of it. Just like, it's the same thing. Nothing has changed. I was hopeful after the SEC case got brought up, and it's just like, okay, well, here's everybody's chance. And nope, that didn't do it, because everybody was just like, yeah, get him. We finally got him. He's going to get what he deserves or whatever. He's on the verge of partial dismissal. I mean, it'd be hilarious if the whole thing got dismissed. And now we're on to this. And it's like the taxes thing. It's just like, okay, well, do you want people, looking at your personal wealth, kind of like Buck was saying, and be like, oh, okay, why don't they have too much? and we need to know how much you have, and that way we can tax you more on it. And
well, and he was one of the most taxed people in Finland too. Like he in the public records, he paid his taxes and a lot. So like it's some bullshit, really.
Yeah. And I guess, under the legalese of, sacrificing, I think there are reasons why things were called the way they were and disclaimed the way they were and clearly stated out over and over and over the way they were. So who's to say that even would ever fall under something, because you sacrifice to, for a project, not, it's not like, hey, I want this guy to have my money, or at least that's not what we were told, or those who sacrificed were told that they signed up for. You're sacrificing for a cause. All right, well, go find the cause of freedom of speech or freedom of movement and get them to pay the taxes, because that's where the money went, in my mind. Anyway, not legal advice.
And I mean, I think the whole situation here. We heard this news months ago, and perhaps longer than that. And but the headline was Interpol, right? Like most wanted. That was the scary part.
It was like corroborated, and I have some.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off, I'll get you just in a second, but that was echoing your point. Is I had private messages, and they're like, text, like, what do you think? Oh my gosh, and it came back to what you were saying, Dylan. Is like, well, this is on Interpol now, so it's like that's the grabber. Yeah.
Shit, yeah. But I mean, we heard about this earlier, right? It's just now it's on Interpol, right? I mean, it's really funny. When Roger Ver was apprehended in Spain or whatever, he didn't get, beat down by all the crypto influencers, right? So I don't know why it's so different for Richard, unless they literally all just fucking hate his guts, because previous Bitcoin OG now made his own stuff, and it had a bit of success a couple of years ago. So I mean, it caused a couple of guys, like BitK was saying, to get out. One actually made the bottom. Like he sold 80 million hex in like 10 minutes. He made the bottom
for like less than a penny.
Yeah. He made it. And there's other guys one guy emergency end staked. He traded. He made 30 million hex. He emergency end staked 100 million hex to do that. Okay. Another guy sold some, bridged some out, and then bought the bottom after the other guy made it. So there's a lot of volatility yesterday, or I'm sorry, a couple days ago. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think we're in that time in the market where we don't need a reason to go up. We need a reason to go down, right? So we had our reason. You had the down, and so it's probably back to hey, we're pre-bull market kind of thing going on. I'm happy with my position. I hope you guys have been able to buy the dip, right? There was a shitload of money stuck on the fucking bridge, okay? A shitload the other night, okay? And one guy bought $1 million in all the assets. So that was nice.
I think that he has a history of doing that too, right? And those are like the core coins of the ecosystem.
I don't know if he had a history or not doing that, but he has another.
I thought that one was, well, maybe. I mean, there are multiple huge bridgers.
Yeah. So there's guys that are interested, right? You sell your bags. Somebody's gonna scoop it up. So if you trade the volatility, be careful. I love the volatility. I like doing the trading and stuff. There was a lot of shit going on Fame while this was going on. The gas fee. I don't know if you guys noticed the gas fee on the chain when this was going on. I was paying $40 per swap, right? Like that's insane. Okay,
that's how I knew transactions. That's how I knew the SEC stuff went down last summer. I didn't even see the news yet. I was actually doing some transactions, and I was like, why is this transaction $50 in Pulse? And I was like, what the heck is going on? And just like flip over to Twitter. I was like, oh,
my God, sky's falling.
everybody's doing something. I was just like, I'm just doing like basic stuff like sends and maybe a buy or something. It was just like, well, why is this $50 in Pulse? Yeah. Oh, that's why. So I did not check the gas fees, but yeah, thanks for
it was expensive. It was not cheap.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is that's nice, because the validators get paid. There was a lot of buy and burn on PulseX.
Yeah,
there
that's
was
another
some guys.
positive there.
Yeah, there were some guys at emergency and stake, so healthy for Hex, I suppose. But yeah, man, volatility's good. It attracts eyes. There was some fucking Twitter account, even though some of us don't like the pegtard narrative. However, the unstable stable coins going and being like meme coins, sure, that's great, right? There's Twitter accounts with like 800,000 followers posting about USDC on Pulse Chain.
I did see that.
The fork version. Yeah, like that's pretty cool,
Yeah, he sold some, kept some. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so hey, cool. That's cool. So I spoke to Buck about this a couple weeks ago, and that's why we, hey, let's open the limits up for Frame V2. Let's get ready for good news to come, and then the opposite happens, of course. But anyways, you're starting to see people come into the sphere of Pulse Chain, and they're looking around and saying, wow, actually, there's a little bit of cool stuff going on here. We've gotten a couple guys come over on Twitter and just being very vocal about the ecosystem, and I think that's going to continue to happen. And then, it'll be slowly, and then all at once, right? So, I think we're at the slowly phase right now, where people are starting to take notice. They're starting to be like, hey, maybe there's something cool going on over here, etc. And then when we're at the all at once stage, that's when the parachute pull the ripcord kind of thing. But yeah, I'm excited. This is even though we've all got a punch in the gut in the portfolio wise, if you trade the volatility, you probably did really well. So I'm pretty happy where I am. So,
or if you're staked short or long, you're just making coins and ignoring all this. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Buck, any final takes on this before we get to one last update on the PH ecosystem, since Dylan brought it up and there have been questions in the chat about any updates to that one?
I think just the only thing I'd say is I wanted to come on and just show solidarity with Richard. I don't really care who he decided to get in a fight with. I don't judge people by their worst moments, even if it isn't something that he would be proud of. I respect this community, and I think I saw a tweet yesterday basically saying the top 10 biggest communities in crypto, and like Bitcoin of course was number one, and ETH and XRP like were there, so it was pretty much per market cap as you'd expect, right? But like somewhere down the list, like at 8, the person actually put X, which I thought was pretty funny.
Cool.
And it's true. Like we have a very resilient community, and I think we can learn a lot from what Elon and all these guys just pulled off of the election, which is that we need to galvanize and come back fighting, and rally behind our leader, even if he's imperfect. Orange Man's imperfect, right? But he stands for some pretty cool things too. And lots of people like him, right? And I think that's very true with Richard Hart. He's got that sort of Byronic male kind of character to him, and I'm excited also by what he's been tweeting. I think it shows that he's ready for this, and he's still up for it, right? That's really good to see.
Yeah, and you mentioned something key there, the solidarity thing, and it's kind of pretty much why I wanted to, just get this quick morning stream on before the holidays. Is people know I've been here, Big K's been here. Obviously you guys have been around and built, on the chain. I haven't. Yeah, I do less shows. We do less shows than we used to, just because there hasn't been much to talk about. We've kind of been in this waiting phase for this SEC thing to get resolved. Yeah, we can talk about the latest, 5 memes that launched in the past 2 hours on Pulse Chain, but I don't really find value in that, and I don't want to kind of, share that some of many. How could I delicately put this? Maybe I just don't share a lot of that nonsense with this audience because I deem it nonsense. Now I'm not going to name names or anything like that. I have some meme coins here and there, but the sloshing of money back and forth on the chain, while I would think the core assets over time will be your best bet. That's not really something I can get behind and be like, oh, throw your all your net worth and dick with dog hat butt something, like pass. That's not the way you're probably gonna make it in crypto. But all that said, sorry for that tangent, but yeah. Any other final thoughts on this topic, gents?
Maybe one more. Maybe
Yes.
one more that I throw out there is that so what is the actual downside risk here?
Richard in cuffs.
Richard in cuffs doing like 12 months in in like a Finnish sauna, and like not a big deal.
Getting
right?
visited by the Tates.
CZ just did this, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay. And then it's also just like, it's like, so hold on, if he's guilty of this crime in Finland, it's like, then does the SEC really have jurisdiction over him? I don't know. Which one is it?
Right.
It's a bit confusing. Like I don't think Finland's necessarily a big player, but I would say I'd love to see Richard Hart back in America 2 years time. Like fucking being epic in the United States, because I think it'll be a much cooler place to live than Europe. And I guarantee you, as soon as they can, like you're going to see guys like the Tate brothers move to the United States. You're going to see it all. You're going to see all those guys, like, and they're going to be running for office too, right? There's something to be said for that, and I think we the vindication for Richard can actually come stateside. So I hope wherever he is, he keeps playing the long game that he's playing and stays safe and doesn't get too down. And I can see the community still super behind him. This whole last 4 years is everything that with COVID has really just taught people not to trust authority, right? Like we all finally fucking got it, right? We all finally learned this lesson, and we understand how much they weaponize things unfairly against people. I think that's definitely been the case here with him. You can argue it's a self-inflicted wound because he did make himself a target. And I'm sure he regrets that maybe in hindsight, but nonetheless, like it's unfair the way he's been singled out when he's definitely no worse than Brock Pierce or any of these other guys, Charles Hoskinson. Like it's a bit ridiculous, right? And I think deep down inside, even guys like Eric kind of know that that he's not any worse than those guys, and they get to go to conferences and everybody kiss their ass. I actually trust Richard's integrity more so than most of those crypto founders out there. I would say, I think he's really giving everything up to this, right? He's walking the line, he could have walked away at the end of the last cycle, and he didn't, right? So he still seems to be very committed. So, and I think this is great for the community in the sense that like it definitely gives us something to think about. Like where would we be if the SEC thing goes away? Then we'd be like, well, what are we going to talk about now? So now we get to basically learn. We all get to become experts in Finland, and so that's exciting. But I think in general, this is going to be something that we'll probably look back at as a very interesting turning point for the community. And yeah, I don't really know what else they can throw at us, to be honest. So
yeah, the timing of this was rather curious because, like I said, we were all waiting for this potential dismissal, at least some sort of verdict as to where we are in this, SEC case here in the States. And literally within, days and or weeks, we get this. So I guess, I was going to wrap it up, but I'll just throw this out there because I've seen it. Do you think the governments were in cahoots and U.S. was just like, okay, this guy might get off on this dismissal thing, so let's, what can you do, Finland, to make his life even worse while we wait on this?
No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all for a second. I think it's literally just somebody in Finland saw this as a really rich target to go at. Like you guys in America don't understand how much Europeans hate Americans, especially fat, loud ones. Right? you guys just don't understand. Like you guys are nice people in America. You do not understand how much the rest of the world loathes fat, loud Americans. And Richard is like the paragon of this genre, this species, right? Like he's everything they can't stand. And it's like he goes so counter to their whole narrative of democratic socialism and high taxes and the idea that they can go after this garish, flamboyant crypto billionaire. Like it's just like it's like the socialist European bureaucrats wet dream. Right. So I think that's kind of what's happened with that. And this is a lot of money for Finland, right? This is not a big economy, right? So like it's and because of socialism, there's not that many rich people in Finland, right? And there's not that many amazing companies. Like, I can think of like 3 off the top of my head, right? Which is not very good. Right. I could probably give you 100 major companies just in Texas. Like if I just started to make a list, right? I could probably do like a much bigger list for California. Like Finland.
So Finland is 300 billion USD GDP. Like,
yeah. So I think that's what's happened here. I don't think it's the U.S. government coordinating with with that. If anything, they're almost in conflict with each other, right? Like that one wants a piece of his ass and the other wants a piece, right? So I can't imagine that that's the case.
And there we have it. I think that's a good time to put a bow on this. But yeah, kind of like what Buck said earlier about the solidarity and just getting some thoughts and our voices out there and coming together for this little chat was my goal in this whole thing. And I'm happy that y'all obliged. I think it was good for the community to hear this discussion, especially I guess the past 30 minutes or so, specifically about RH. And I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that you can read on Twitter and cesspool Telegram rooms, some of them, and but hearing actual conversation about it, I think, is much more of a benefit, to the community. So, thank you guys for coming on and talking about this. This is definitely appreciated.
Of course, sir. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. Oh, and I did mention it a couple minutes ago, but right before we go, there was a question. PH ecosystem, fiat, fame, any updates there? There was a question in the chat just for you guys.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make any big announcements right here, right now. I like the digging though. I respect that. But I can tell you the boys are definitely at work. So there's definitely things coming in the pipeline in 2025.
Nice.
Any new questions going to be on Bet Dream anytime soon?
I actually had a good suggestion from one of the interns, not Dylan, of course, because he doesn't have good ideas. But it was what's the gender of?
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
So yeah, we just needed to figure out the right way to structure that one. But I think the Richard Hart victim, assault victim gender reveal could be quite a fun thing to bet on. And obviously, some people must know the story. So I think it could be an interesting way to actually find out the truth, because if you didn't know the gender, yeah. So we'll maybe try and get that one going.
Cool, love it.
Well, there you go. And what's that site again? It's on. It's listed at the top of, I think, Fame and
BetDream.io.
BetDream.io.
That's still in beta, so we're working on it slowly, but we're. I think that could be a fun little thing to play with. But yeah, we're excited for the next year. I've said it before, maybe, but not tonight. We need Ethereum to run before Pulse Chain runs, right? That's the kind of the key thing we're all waiting for. So when all those Wall Street guys get into the cabinet in January and they start to make their moves once Trump's inaugurated, I think the market's going to very quickly figure out that Ethereum is actually the play, and I suspect that the Bitcoin strategic reserve's probably not going to be this massive buying operation necessarily, at least right away. So I think people will realize that maybe that narrative is sort of already priced in, which is that they're just going to stop selling whatever they've already stockpiled through seizures or whatever. So I really do believe that you're going to see Ethereum run. You see the Trump organization basically buying ETH, amongst other things, quite a lot. So I think the writing's on the wall there. So watch out for that, because that's very important for Pulse Chain. We need a healthy ETH, and obviously so far it's been a laggard this cycle. Mm-hmm. And anytime you want to get upset about how things are going on Pulse Chain, that's really the key thing to keep in mind. That's actually a bigger problem for us than the SEC thing ever was in reality. If ETH were at $20,000 right now, you guys wouldn't be bitching. I promise you. Right? You'd be feeling a lot better. So that's kind of the key thing to look out for in 2025 for us, actually. So yeah, watch out for that.
Nice. And I do remember you were, I think, more bullish on ETH pre-election. Just for the fact that people were underestimating the world of DeFi if Trump were to actually gain political power. So you have maintained your bullishness, which makes me happy. So exciting to see. And I would love a 5-figure price in ETH in 2025. So, all right, gents. Well, thanks again for everybody. We're hitting our high marks on the YouTube views right now as we're going out. Go around the room as we always do and tell us where we can find you, or if you want to be found, or some cool things that you have built, or whatever else. Show yourselves. Big K, man. What's going on?
Yeah. You can find me Twitter and Telegram, Ben Krakowski. You can also find me here whenever we're doing streams here.
This Friday, 5 p.m.
Oh yeah, we're doing this Friday. We got one of those
happy hour things.
Crossover guests that like Shilly Gates will be over here.
Shilly Gates will be joining us.
And he's somebody who I remember from my mining days back in, like, I remember his account from a long time ago. So having him aboard is super cool. His posting has been nice. So yeah, there you'll find me there, and then down in PR, hopefully throwing some more fun parties from a new year.
Nice. Bring one of those parties up to Florida, Dylan. I'll see you.
Yeah.
Hey, Nokia. What's going on, sir? Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you can find me by messaging at Hexastani on Telegram, and
BB underscore trippin on X.
Yeah, that's right. No, I'll be around doing some spaces. I think over the New Year's.
Maybe we'll do a Christmas space.
I'm gonna be going down to DC as well because I really want to wrap my head around what's going on. Maybe I'll be popping over to Mar-a-Lago as well, seeing who I can meet in Palm Beach.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm pretty fizzed up about all this, as you can see. And yeah, it's not because I think Trump is some managerial genius. It's just because I think these guys are serious people and they've come to win, and they literally have to go big here, because if they don't, then it was all a waste of time. And oh my God, will the Democrats fucking go after them once they have power again, right? Yeah. So I expect them to go fucking big. So yeah, I'll be around there. So yeah, if you see a very good-looking male model walking around Palm Beach or DC, that could be me.
All right. Well, so, yeah. I'll keep an eye out in DC, man. If I rub shoulders with a handsome brute, I'll be like, "Hey, are you Buck Nokia?" And then you don't have to tell me; just give me a nod and do the Batman thing and disappear. So
I'll just squeeze your ass. I'll be like, you got it, buddy.
And that's it. End scene. Dylan, where can we find you, sir?
Yeah, you guys know where to find me. On Twitter at BB_trippin, and then on Telegram at Hexastani. And then if you like funny Telegram chats, at Pulse Bear. Go hang out in Pulse Bear. Okay.
I am in Pulse Bear.
It's headline Pulse Uber right now because everyone's Uber. So, but yeah, I look forward to what's coming, guys. I think we're all gonna stick around and enjoy the ride. So,
yeah, we made it this far. I think we can make it just about anything. So, that's it. Sounds like the party's starting somewhere. Probably Big K, because Big K always brings the party.
Indeed.
So we will end it for today. I think I'm going on with Vets and Crypto. I'll retweet it here in like 30 minutes or something like that. And then Big K and I, this Friday, 5:00 p.m., happy hour show returns with Mr. Shilly Gates. Looking forward to that.
I'll be in a new location. So if everyone wants to ponder where that'll be.
There you go. But I'm sure the party will still be with you.
So it will be.
Bring the party. Happy hour this Friday at 5. Thank you, gents, and thank you, audience and chat, and we will see you shortly.